So hello and welcome everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening as the case may be. This is the Business Transformation Initiative webinar, and today's talk is Agile Digital Transformation. We are very, very happy to welcome our amazing speaker, David Billouz. Welcome, David.
Thank you. Welcome, all of you.
Yes. So this will be recorded and put on the YouTube channel for later watching. So David is actually an ITIL Master, ITIL4 Co-author and assessor, and he'll be giving a more in-depth introduction. And so let's see. Today's, just to give a brief context, in this webinar is being presented in partnership with smartQED and ProSolvr. If you are not familiar with these two products, please look us up on LinkedIn. And to participate and contribute, and of course apply this knowledge, we invite you to follow us on LinkedIn. You can contribute as a speaker in this exciting webinar series. You can send me mail, julie@smartqed.ai, and we also do follow-up team workshops and corporate consulting, so you can apply this knowledge effectively. And for that, you can contact Ron Spencer at smartqed.com. So with that, I hand it over to David. David, please share your screen and welcome one more time.
Okay, thank you. So let's start. So yes, today we will speak about Agile Digital Transformation. But before we jump into the topic, first question, control question, Julie, is my screen visible? Do you see my screen? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, good. So before we start with the presentation, I will just introduce myself. Don't like to speak a lot of myself, just a couple of things. So I'm located in the Czech Republic, in Prague, and I am delivering some different kind of services, like a consultant, an auditor, and a trainer in IT service management. As Julie said, I'm a certified ITIL Master, and I had the chance to co-author one of the next book on ITIL4 about IT asset management, which will be released by the beginning of next year, so very soon now. I also try to do a lot of, let's say, activities to promote ITIL in my workspace, but also on the internet and with my different customers. And I have also created a periodic table of ITSM processes that can be useful way for you to have a better idea of what is the existing inventory of ITSM processes that you can use in your organization. So that's briefly about myself. Now let's jump into the topic. So I know that some of you are familiar with ITIL4, and this presentation takes some pieces of ITIL4, but of course defined all these aspects in a different angle. First of all, we talk about Agile Digital Transformation. So it's important to see what we are talking about. When we talk about Agile Digital Transformation, first of all, we talk about digital transformation. You may know that a very easy definition of digital transformation is to make sure that an organization can do different business or can do business differently by the use of digital products. Okay, we had the example of how this transformation could be accelerated by some, let's say, circumstances like the very bad pandemics we all know during the last 2 years, and which accelerated, in fact, the digital transformation for many organizations. So, in fact, digital transformation is something that many people have heard about. You, know about it. So it's, in fact, how we can use the digital technology, as I said, to the different business or to do the business differently. So, for instance, to do the business online, And what about agile digital transformation? You know, agile is a kind of buzzword nowadays. So it means, in fact, that here, when we talk about agile digital transformation, we talk about speed and we talk about direction. A little bit as you have in ITIL4, for who you know, the concept of high velocity IT. Here, we don't paraphrase what you have in high velocity IT. But on the other hand, you have to understand that the agile digital transformation is to be sure that you can be, on time with the right product, okay, the right digital product that meets the requirements of your customer. So that means you do the things right, the things quick, and the things exactly that is needed by the customer. You would say, okay, in that case, there is nothing new because every organization that delivers services to its customers within the constraints of the time to market. Yes, but not all of them is doing that with digital product. So agile digital transformation is how we make sure that the use of technology is available or is done in the proper speed with the right direction. That's it. Okay. So let's have a look at the big picture about what we are talking about here in digital transformation. And to understand that, as I said before that, we said that digital transformation, and especially agile digital transformation, is the use of digital products. So in order to understand what agile digital transformation is, we have to relate this to the product lifecycle, if I can say. So what it means that from the idea or innovation, from a demand from the customer, from a demand from any other stakeholders, you have idea for a product, you have idea to cover or to address some needs from your users or from your customers. So that means you ideate, you create an idea. From this idea, you develop a product. From this product, you derive a service that you operate. And from this service, you allow the users to use it the best they can. And it leads to realized value for the customer, for the sponsor of the service, for the decision maker who said, okay, we will fund this service. Okay, so this is the classic life cycle. Nothing new in that. But what is important is in the agile digital transformation, we focus on some specific parts and some specific goals. One is we will talk about the potential value. So that means, in fact, does it make sense to really investigate into this innovation? What is the real value? Does it really have any value in terms of time to market, in terms of course, functionalities, in terms of ease of use, and so on and so on. So does it address any need? And is there any kind of return on investment? Okay. So what about the potential value? Okay. Does it really make sense for us to go further with this innovation and this innovative idea? And as I said, we talk about agile digital transformation. So time is important. So what is important here is the timely delivery of the service. When will the service be available, this digital product and the service related to this digital product be available? This is crucial because we live in a very competitive environment. Timely delivery is one of the differentiator of your organization. Cost and effort. Still, during all these phases of development and operations, do we have a cost-efficient solution? Okay, maybe we can do more with less. So we still have, in each stage of this part to discuss about that, okay, about the efficiency of the solution in terms of cost and, of course, in terms of risk and in terms of outcome. And also, once it's operated, we know that we want to be sure that the service is available, in fact, as long as possible. So we talk about here undisrupted operations. And the last goal we have to fulfill in an agile digital transformation is to maximize the value that is realized by using the service. So these are the proper goals that we have when we talk about agile digital transformation. Okay. So now let's have a look at each part or each objective step by step. The first one, when we have innovation, the potential value objective is to be sure that, we can have an innovative application of IT. So in fact, that's the proactive part. We don't want just to rely on a reactive part, meaning that we have a demand from a customer or from any other stakeholder, and we try to find an innovative way to address it. It's also coming from a lot of research and development part. But in each research and development, you know that you have to look at what is profitable. And that's the key here. What is profitable to develop a new application? For instance, what is profitable to develop a new, let's say, chatbot or a new software based on artificial intelligence that could maybe hypothetically in some years give us, any kind of return on investment. Does it really make sense? Okay, so what about the profitability? And then when we talk about profitability, we don't have to answer yes, it's profitable or not. We have to identify different alternatives always. And one may be the right idea that can be feasible and profitable in a very short term. So this is about the potential value objective. And when we talk about this objective, how we can, or what part of Agile or the Agile approach can in fact help us with that? We can use Lean Startup. Lean Startup is a good approach for ideation. So because in Lean Startup, you have these 3 steps, First step is I have an idea. Second step, I build a product and I deliver this product to a market. And then I get the feedback from the market to see if it was a good idea or not. But I didn't spend a lot of time and a lot of resources for that. That's the notion of what we call an MVP in a Lean Startup. So that's a good approach to innovation and to reach this idea of, is my idea having a real potential in terms of profitability? As we say here, we talk about time boxing because, of course, the time should be very short and between the ID and the MVP. And based on the result, the feedback from the MVP, you can refine your business case. You can say, yes, it's not a bad idea, but there are some hypotheses in terms of market, size of the market, or functionalities and so on that has to be a little bit adjusted. So you can refine based on the feedback from the market regarding on your MVP. Okay, so this is this can be an agile approach for this first potential value objective. A second objective is the timely delivery. Okay, the timely delivery is to be sure that the time to market, as we say, is as short as possible. So we don't make the customer wait too long between the development of a product based on an idea and the delivery of the service. Of course, this is not something new, but this is very important, as I say, in a competitive market. And we say here, I say it's quick and reliable. It's not quick and dirty, it's quick and clean. So that means what we deliver meets the requirements, but we emphasize the delivery and the quick of delivery. Something that is very similar, by the way, to what you can see in DevOps. Okay, because in DevOps, you know that from the beginning of the development till the deployment of the solution, the time to market is crucial. So it is something that can be, you know, very important. But here you see the fast development is not the goal. The goal is to address the needs of the customer as services, but even with a short, very short time to market. So that's why we say here that fast development has no intrinsic value. This is not what we want to fulfill. What we want to fulfill is the satisfaction of the customer with good services delivered at the right time and in the right place. So that's about timely delivery. How it works, in fact, in Agile or in an Agile approach. For that, you have this, for the Agile approach, what we do here is that we say to speed up this time to deliver a service based on the development, you have to do smaller things, but more frequently. Because as we see in this slide, you see that the frequency of any change on your product will be proportional to the size of your change and reversely proportional to, in fact, the quality of the change. The more bigger you do changes, the less you will have quality change. So you have to do small, let's say, loads, small batches more frequently in order to be sure that you can also guarantee a certain level of quality. So this is an approach about how to achieve the timely delivery of your services. Then another part of this, another goal is what I call the cost and effort, or what we call a cost efficiency, if you want, of the solution. This is important because, you can address a need, you can be very speed, you can, in terms of time to market, you can deliver what the customer wants, but maybe you spend too much time and effort for that. And then you jeopardized the investment appraisal that you stated in your business case. So you need to constantly check within these phases here that the cost and effort is optimized. So that's what we say here when we talk about optimize the solution continually. Okay. And continually is real what you do on a very regular basis. To do that, two things you can do. To optimize the solution, look for linearity to see, for instance, all these downtime, sources of waste, downtime because you have 8 sources of waste in linearity. And also, look at for automation, CI/CD, this DevOps toolchain. Okay, this is also something that can be useful for you if you want to be sure that you want to preserve the time to market, but you want also to preserve the efficiency of the solution in terms of architecture, in terms of performance. Okay. Another important part of the Agile Digital Transformation goal is, another goal, if you wish, is the undisrupted operation. So in the undisrupted operation, what we are looking for, what we have to be obsessed about is to fight against any value leakage. So the value leakage means that what you have in your business case when you discuss when you decide to go for a service, a new service, is based on hypotheses. So you have the value in terms of, let's say, cost reductions, in terms of higher performance of the users, in terms of replenishing, decommissioning a system that costs you a lot of money by this new service. But by the time you say that in your business case and the time that you operate the service, you will see that the value on the paper is not the same as the real value that you can get. So in order to, in these different, when you operate the service, that there is no so many incidents, that the performance is at the right level as you tested it in your, for instance, pre-production environment and all this, then you have to manage and to address all this. So you see, you can address that in terms of availability, in terms of performance, in terms of security, also in terms of continuity, all the classic part or element of service quality in ITIL. And now you can do that. What can be an agile approach to undisrupted operation? First, you can use operations criteria in the definition of them. So in order to be sure that when you design the service and the product and then the service, then you have some operation criteria that are part of your quality standard, which is in Agile, we can say the definition of done, if we talk like with the example of Scrum. And of course, you have to define in the organization what can be the acceptable amount of technical debt you have in your product backlog. What can be acceptable, what is not. If it's not, you need to address that because it can jeopardize the undisrupted operations, and then it will have a direct negative impact on the value. And when we talk about the value, the last goal we have here is we need to realize value. Service without value is useless. But to realize value, it's not the matter only of the provider of the service, but it's mainly about the customer, mainly about the users. Because if the users use your service properly, then the outcome from the service will be realized and the value will be measured. But the value includes the value for all the stakeholders. So for all the stakeholders, meaning the customer, the user, the sponsor, the regulators. For instance, if you deliver a service and you have you are not compliant, for instance, with part of the data privacy laws in some countries, then of course you will have some issue. You need to realize the value for all the stakeholders. Okay. And to do that, what we can say in terms of agile approach, one is, of course, you are not sure, you ask. So you get feedback. So get feedback from the customer to the service provider. You get feedback from some regulators. You can also, the feedback is not only about the customer, it's about having some, for instance, assessment, some audits that you can do on the requirements that have to be fulfilled by your service and your product. And also, you need to prioritize what is the value. And for that, a key role is the product owner, because in Scrum, you know that the product owner is what we call the value maximizer. He's here to prioritize the item of your product backlog based on the highest possible value. So that's it about the goals. How we can help you with that? One thing is you can have a kind of toolkit for that. So one thing, as I mentioned in the beginning, I created this periodic table of ITSM processes, because processes is one of the main capabilities that you can use in this agile digital transformation. So we will not talk about all the content, but you can see here that you have all the main IT service management processes from different sources, from ITIL, from COVID, from ISO 20000, from CMMI, and it can be a first, part of your toolkit that you can get if you want to go for this journey of agile digital transformation. The other things that are important, I mentioned, the agile approach. You need to know what agile approach is and what agile proposes. Agile proposes some behaviors, some concepts, some techniques. You have some of them here. It's about also having a new mindset, being collaborative, self-organized, and so on and so on. So in the toolkit, if you want to use these agile approaches, then you have to select the concept, the techniques, and also adapt the culture of your organization to this new agile mindset. And last but not least, in your toolkit, you can use a lot of supporting tools, like obviously the ITSM tools, like the Agile supporting tools. Many of you are using, tools from different vendors on Agile, and also you can use some collaborative tool about to be sure that the teams work together, because you see here one of the key behavior is being collaborative. I know, for instance, that smartQED has collaborative tool, by the way, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this seminar or webinar with them. So to learn about more, of course, you can follow me on LinkedIn, and some of you know that I try to be quite active in this social media. And here we have some topics for the next part, but maybe for that I can leave now, Julie to tell more about the rest. Do you agree, Julie?
Yes, thank you, David. So everyone, while David's slide is on the screen, please express your opinion on chat. What would you like to do a deeper dive on? David is an authority and master, as you see, so he can do ITSM chemistry, which is the set of processes, ITIL4, and other different topics, including the tools. And thank you for your mention of smartQED, David. We appreciate it.
That's my pleasure.
Thank you. So I will take
have
over.
A question.
We
have
yes,
a question
Ron,
from the audience.
We have a question. Yes.
Yes. And it is Deepak, who is asking us to explain the definition of done with another example, and the ITSM chemistry as well. Yeah. So that's Deepak from Mumbai, yeah, asking for ITSM chemistry. And Deepak Kumar is asking about done with another example. So we have got two questions. Yeah.
Okay. So maybe I will start with the definition of done, because it's more easy to understand. Definition of done, it's a concept that is described in Scrum, one of the Agile framework. And definition of done is to be sure that it's a set of criteria, for instance, acceptance criteria, to say that now what we delivered or what we developed is ready to be deployed into production. Okay, so in the definition of done, for instance, you can also say what are the different steps that needs to be done to develop a product, what kind of tests you can do to develop the product. So for instance, if you need to do some performance tests for some cases or not, what kind of, you have some templates to define the test scenario. These are, in fact, all part of the definition of done. And what we say in this undisrupted operation is that you can also add some criteria related to, the high availability of your product once it will be in production. So you will, create a lot of tests to ensure this high availability. You will create some tests, as I say, in terms of performance, to be sure that you can guarantee performance of your, for instance, system in different contexts. So that's the definition of done. Okay. I hope I answered the question.
Yes, I guess. Yes.
I think so. Yes. There's another follow-up question. Yeah.
We have got a couple of questions lined up. One is about the ITSM chemistry, which is being asked by Deepak. And there's another question, David, let me just complete the question so that you can answer in a flow. One is, how is ITIL related to ServiceNow? What aspects do I have to understand so that I can apply them?
Oh, I hope we will have a couple of hours for the last one, but yeah. So I will start with the ITSM chemistry. So ITSM chemistry is also something that, in fact, it's my point of view of ITS service management. when I say chemistry, you saw I just show you this periodic table of processes, and you have to understand that processes like capabilities are really like chemical elements. Chemical elements that, for instance, when you combine some processes together, then the combination will create something different, something better, something higher, you know, and that's exactly what we do in ITSM chemistry. So that means we have these elements, these let's say different elements, okay, like units, ITSM processes, and in ITSM chemistry, we try to show how you can combine them to create value streams. That's the idea of ITSM chemistry. I hope I answered the question before I jump to the next one.
We can do a follow-up webinar on that. There is another one, I think, from Deepak Singh, Ron. Is it like so they're asking, is it the ITIL service related to, how is ITIL related to service now? Is it like acceptance or approval of the solution before rollout? Is it done? This is the definition of done, right, Ron?
Yeah, definition of done. I just finished with that, and then I will talk about ITIL and service now. Definition of done, it's more than just acceptance or acceptance criteria. It's also about how we can say the quality trail. So it's also about having all the standards, for instance, for you to say what are the different steps, the different environment, and the different kind of tests, checks, controls you need to do in each step of your development. So that means in the integration part, in the delivery part, if I talk like DevOps, in also the deployment part, and in the production. So it's more than just having some acceptance criteria. Okay, it's about saying, okay, which kind of test, which kind of what is the approach you can have, for instance, to transfer the code to a test environment, to transfer then to a pre-production environment, and so on and so on. So this is just more acceptance criteria are part of the definition of done only. And now the question about ITIL and ServiceNow. I was not here involved, of course, when ServiceNow was created. I think it was in 2004, 2005, something like that. But what I can tell you is that ServiceNow really tried to use ITIL version 3 by the book. So in fact, ITIL version 3 was a very, in some extent, the specification for ServiceNow, if I can say it this way. So in fact, they got people from ServiceNow, the authors of ServiceNow. I don't know them personally, but I mean, ServiceNow is a product that has really, you know, tried to be as much as compatible or conform with ITIL version 3. Okay, because in ITIL version 3, you had this idea of the service lifecycle within each you know, stage of this service lifecycle, some specific processes. And in ServiceNow, you have, you know, you use these processes as modules, and you also integrate, or you also have this integration of these modules, how you can integrate processes within this service lifecycle. So in fact, there is a very close relationship between ServiceNow and version 3 of ITIL. Okay. And what do you need? I see the question, what aspect do I have to understand so that I can apply them? In fact, you need to understand, if you want to apply them in ServiceNow, you need to understand the processes. As I said, it's the key, because a tool helps you to, you know, action processes. Okay. So you need to know the ITIL 4 practices or ITIL version 3 processes. That's what you need to know.
That's great, David. Thank you for the answers. So I'm sure there will be, you know, more questions from people who are watching offline. Hopefully they'll reach out to you. So I will just, unless there are more questions, Ron, I'll just finish up with the slides. Are there any more questions?
You can carry on, Julie, by finishing it off. We are already running out of time, and if we have more questions, we can have the participants sending us email, and we'll try and answer them. Yeah.
Right. Why don't we just save the chat, Ron, so we can follow up? Okay. So I already mentioned at the beginning how you can participate, contribute, and apply the knowledge. That's most important. I like this thing that knowledge without application is just information. And hopefully whatever David has shared today is more than just information. To be actually realized, it has to be applied, right, David?
Oh yeah, exactly. I can't say it better than you. Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely right.
So you can go for team workshops and consulting services. Here are our emails. Ron has already posted on chat. And just to finish up, I want to invite you to follow our company pages for more announcements of these webinars. You can find us on LinkedIn, company smartQED and company ProSolvr. That's the first one is on incident management, and the second one is a new product that's about to be launched for problem management and specifically for root cause analysis. So David, you mentioned collaborative tools. So collaborative tools are an important part of Agile. You would agree, right?
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Like you mentioned, I'm just saying what you said. And of course, you can participate in our webinars, contribute as a speaker, and take the next steps. This is most important. This is what takes the information to actually knowledge that benefits you. And we provide team workshops and corporate consulting in partnership with these experts. So that's it from our side. Further questions, please feel free to reach out to David or to one of us at smartQED, and we would love to hear from